And coming up on this episode of the Marty Mariner Show, well, it's the first of our end of season specials. And what a lineup we have in store for you. First of all, we have rolled out the red carpet. We've given it a really good dust off. We've run the vacuum over a few times, and we've hired one of those carpet cleaning machines too, just to give it that extra redness that it deserves for the chairman of the Central Coast Mariners, Richard Peel. If you thought that the final whistle at the end of the game at Combank Stadium was the end of the Mariners season, you would be sadly mistaken. They are on fire out there at Tuggerah HQ, and Richard joins us to let us know what has been going on since that very final whistle happened. Lots going on at the club. Very, very exciting. Talking of very exciting, this guy's been very exciting in the middle of the park for us this year. Max Ballard joins us. He's going to tell us what it was like, his grand final memories, what it was like with all those keep-up cameras around all over the joint. Listening to his pre-game talk when out there with Jason Cummings was quite inspiring, just listening to those guys. He's also going to talk about Joshy Nisbet. We rate Joshy very highly as well. So what is it like from the guy who plays right next to him in the middle of the park? And, well, to cap it all off, if you couldn't cap it all off with those guys anyway, well, we've got three absolute legends from off the field. They are the proverbial decorations on the proverbial cake. Mick Morley, the psychic Gabby Bowles, which we'll go into a little bit later, and one guy who's making his Marty Mariner Show debut. I predict he'll be one of the busiest guys on the Central Coast, if not the state, if not the country, come next Monday when the Central Coast Mariners memberships get renewed, go on sale. This guy will be absolutely flat out, and how good is that? Dan, the membership man, joins us to talk about the memberships, all the different options that you can take up with the club this year. It's absolutely fantastic what the club are doing. Very unique in some ways as well. Make sure you stick around to listen to Dan, and we will get you sorted with a membership for the year. How could you not after the season we've just had? Been absolutely sensational. I haven't had the opportunity yet to invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much to those who have done so, particularly in the last few weeks. We've had a real nice little influx of subscribers. Really, really appreciate it. And to those who've been with us all the way along, thank you too. It is free to subscribe, that little button in the bottom corner there. It just helps spread the word about the mighty Central Coast Mariners, and does a whole heap of mathematical things when it comes to equations and all sorts of things for YouTube as well. Things I'll never understand, but apparently it's good. It is free to do so, and I would love to welcome you to our little community here on the channel. Well, the main man is in the green room. He is waiting, and I, for one, am not going to keep the chairman of the Central Coast Mariners waiting any longer. A real bumper episode coming up for you right now. Let's get it started. It's the Marty Mariner Show. And welcome back to the Marty Mariner Show, the first of our end-of-season wrap-up shows. And, well, if we're going to kick them off, we may as well start at the absolute very top of the mountain. We're rolling out the red carpet. We've given it a good clean because this guy's a very, very special guest. Richard Peel, welcome to the Marty Mariner Show.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, mate. Anytime at all. Mate, I don't know about yourself, but are you still buzzing about last week?
Well, buzzing about the result, but there's a lot of work to be done now to make the most of what the boys achieved. The work's. It's been a pretty busy week, to be honest with you, mate, and it's only going to ramp up. So, fantastic result, of course, and way beyond our expectations at the start of the year. But the hard work off the field starts now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was it May 7, I think, last year when you first came onto the board. It was a year and 1 month later that we get that result. Even if we'd have told you on that day, I mean, we never, downplay any success we might have, but even then it would have been hard to believe it would have come up that quickly, right?
Well, my personal goal was top 6. I expected to get top 4.
Yep.
But to finish at the top of the tree was was beyond expectation. Pleasant surprise, and just the way the whole season ramped up towards the end, the support, the performances, just an amazing year that I think we'll be talking about for a long time to come.
No, absolutely, and long may it continue. Mate, you mentioned at the start that the work's already kicked on for next year and next season already. Where does it start for you guys? Because obviously, the boys are having a well-earned holiday and a bit of a break. But what is that priority number one for the club?
Well, it depends who you speak to. So Dan's obviously working very hard in the membership phase. We go on sale next week. Matt Simon. I'll be spending in the next 5 weeks on phone calls, middle of the night. So I did all that last year, all the negotiations with new signings and re-signing some current players for longer. So he's got a really busy period ahead of him, obviously heavily supported by Monty and Serge. I do hope that Monty and Serge have a bit of a break. They're very passionate about their football, and but they do need a break to recharge, because next year we want to. There's 2 goals from personally next year, Marty. Is I'll take any success, but if we could win the league and win Asia, they're the 2 that I'd really like. I'm English, mate. I'm from Leeds, so
absolutely.
First past the post to me is a big thing. Although right now, I'm very happy that they that it wasn't for the champions is the person that wins the grand final. So. And that goes right across the team. So we've brought a couple of new people on in the office. So betting those people in is going to take a bit of time. And we need to perform better commercially next year than we did last year. So a lot of work to be done, mate. A lot of good people still in places in the club that have been there for a long time. A lot of good people coming on board, and from the higher level, I've got a group of really good people around me at a board level, advisory board level, helping me make decisions. So, look, I'm happy where we're at, but like I said, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last parts of the English blood that's still in my system too. I'm totally hearing you about the first pass of the post thing, but. It is how it is, and it's particularly exciting, as you said, with Asia coming on board for the club this year. What changes does that make for us? Does it make when we're planning for the year? Obviously, we've got to take into account the Asian part of it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the back end of this calendar year, the boys are going to be really busy. It's going to equate to probably 3 games a fortnight, which is not unusual overseas, but it's unusual for Australian players to play that type of volume. So, Monty and Serge want to have a little bit more depth in the squad. So that's what we're working on at the moment, to fit that inside our budget. Look, I think, we've got a really good head of strength and conditioning in Bryce.
Bryce is awesome, yeah.
And he'll get it right, mate. He knows that they'll probably need a little bit more of a longer base phase at the first start of the season before he starts getting into their match fitness stuff. Very confident that between him and Serge in particular, that they'll get the conditioning side right. And I say it every time someone talks to me, that tactically Monty and Serge are not headed by anyone in this league, and not only just this league. Like, I doubt there'll be anyone of their ilk in Asia that will come across. They're fantastic in what they do. And we've also got Abbas Saad on board, who's with the MPL, who's obviously a bit of a legend in the Asian countries. So he'll be an important part for us to get the scouting reports on the clubs that we're playing. Look, it's good. It's good, mate. It's playing more games is what the boys need.
Absolutely.
That's to push into that next level. And I'm sure that Monty and Serge will bring some players through from the youth academy, as they always do. That are putting their hand up and training hard and playing well. So, it's going to be really exciting into 2023 for sure.
No, absolutely, mate. And I read, I was reading some articles recently, and I think one of the things that you said was one thing you like being is the underdog. probably makes it hard with a result like that to come off and be an underdog. But people shouldn't still overestimate the resources that we do this from, right?
Look, obviously this year we ended up putting quite a bit more money into the player budget than we had previously. So, it's over $500,000 more than we've previously had. So, still on the lower end compared to the other clubs in the league. But, I hear this term, Marty, of under-resourced. I actually don't agree with that. I believe that we're developing a model that's sustainable in Australian football. Just because you're trying to live within your means doesn't mean you're under-resourced. And just because other people are wasting money on, $2 million on imports and things like that, doesn't mean that we're under-resourced. It just means that we've got to invest our money, the resources that we do have, wisely. So, it's going to be I don't. It'll be interesting, Marty. When the odds come out on the sporting bet apps, I guarantee you we still won't be favourites next year. I guarantee you that it'll still be Melbourne Victory, Melbourne City, Sydney FC, Wanderers, maybe, I don't know, Western. I wouldn't be surprised if we're fifth or sixth because everybody still sees us as the underdog, and that's the big thing that I think is going to motivate both the players and Monty and Serge and their whole team this year is to show that wasn't a fluke, because it wasn't a fluke, mate.
No,
it absolutely wasn't a fluke. Once we got our, they made some great business in the January transfer window to move a couple of players out and bring in some excellent players like Jimmy McGarry and Christian Theo Harris, Dylan Wenzel-Hawes, who didn't get much time because of injuries, but a great January window. We then had a period where we were really understaffed. We had injury, suspensions, and international duty. Now, I think there's one game there where we had, I'm going to guess there was probably 7 players that started in the grand final that weren't in the starting line at 6 or 7. So once we got everybody back, mate, we were excellent. We were excellent. In fact, the only points we dropped were against Melbourne City in that draw in the game at Central Coast Stadium that I think is the best game I've seen in the A-League. In recent memory. It was just an absolute cracking game, and I think that was a tipping point for us where we realised that we were good, and our supporters realised that we were good, and we set a record against Adelaide in the home semi-final, which was really exciting. But we got to capitalise on it, mate. It's all good that it's you're only as good as your. Well, they say you're as good as your last game, which is pretty good, But I think we should be pretty high on the favourite list in Asia, in the countries that we're playing against. Certainly in the A-League, though, I don't expect to be a favourite, mate. I think we'll still have the underdog tag.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, the only good thing about that is my sports bet account. They can put us as low as they like, mate. But apart from that, I think we'll definitely be underestimated and things like that. The grand final night for you, it was massive for the club. We've come off the back of as you said, the 20,059 people in the stadium against Adelaide. We're all there in numbers. How are you feeling on that night yourself? It's been a hell of a year or so for yourself coming through. How did you feel on the night?
Leading up to the game, I was a bit more relaxed than I was against Adelaide at home. Adelaide at home, I was really nervous, and nothing to do with the performance of the team. I just knew that being ahead after the first leg with a young team, it was possible that they may, try and shut up shop. Not tactically. I know that Monty and Serge would never do that. But young kids, it is possible. And I really sort of felt that game against Adelaide was ours to lose. Rather, they really didn't have anything to lose. They had to come out and attack. But I mean, we played so well. It was just a tremendous performance. So come grand final night, I was actually really relaxed during the week because I thought, we've made the big show. I'll accept whatever happens because grand finals are grand finals.
Absolutely.
Very excited at 2-0, very nervous at 2-1, very nervous for the first 15 minutes of the second half.
Absolutely.
But once Faz came on, and not that Jimmy McGarry had a bad game because he actually had an exceptional game, but Faz just came on and got forward and with that little bit of extra pace there, he got those 2 penalties very quickly, and then I relaxed. And then I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the goals just kept going in. It was a bit surreal. Yeah. And, the thing to point out, mate, is that it's not totally unusual for grand finals to blow out. I mean, you've seen it in the AFL, you see it in rugby league. What is unusual is that it blows out to the underdog.
Yeah.
That's very unusual. It's normally the team, the Penrith or the team that's finished well on top throughout the year that blows the other team away. So, but it was a clinical performance, exceptionally well prepared by the coaching staff and the physio staff. Joining the physio and Nick, the S&Cs with Bryce and Kate, and Andy Bernal, just making sure everybody's feeling well. Simo with his last words before in the huddle before they come off after the warm up.
Yeah.
And I think if you saw the All Access, you saw the difference in. I don't want to criticise anyone else, but I think you did see the difference in the approach of the coaches. I listened to Monty's speech on the All Access and got goosebumps. Whereas it was different. It's just different in the other dressing shed. So it was a great night. It was a great night. So.
It was a sensational night, and it's continued on, which has been a great feeling for us. Just on that All Access too. One thing it just stands out so much, and it's something I've known about this club for many, many years. It's just that family aspect of it. Boys at the end of the game take their young kids around the field. That obviously they had them all on the field at the end of the game. Even in the huddle that Monty had when he was talking, it's just such a family atmosphere. Monty just thrives in that sort of scenario, doesn't it? Because I was the same. I could have put boots on and played myself after listening to that speech from Monty.
Well, Monty's a very family-orientated person. He's got a great relationship with Josie, his wife. He's a very good dad to his daughters, and he's very close to his father and his brother, and he was very close to his mother while she was around. So he is a very family-orientated, and he brings that into the whole organisation.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. It's very powerful when you feel like you are standing next to your brother or your sister. It gives you that extra motivation. But Marty, I've had so many chairmen and CEOs from other clubs come up to me throughout the season, and it's probably happened 5, maybe 6 times, where they actually come and ask me how do we get the players? What do we do to make the players stay on the field after the game?
Yep.
Because and candidly, they've said openly, we can't get our players to do that. They'll go and maybe have one photo, and whereas our guys are on there sometimes for 50, 60 minutes.
Easy.
My answer to them is it's culture.
Yeah.
We don't actually ask them to do that. In fact, at the after party at the Erin Affair on the Sunday.
Yeah.
The boys had done a fan signing day at Plume Park the weekend before, and I actually said to all of them individually at that day, I said, guys, you're not obliged to go and stand at the fence. If you want to go and do that, it's your call. But I think you've done a lot. Yeah. And every single one of them went and stood at the fence there, for an hour or so signing autographs. It's just the way they are. But, it's conditioning. It's conditioning of, they've been told many occasions that they've only got a short career and they can influence people in a positive way or they can influence people in a negative way.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we've got a group of players that choose to do that in a positive way.
No,
so it's a great group of players, mate. Some great characters, some crazy characters, some a little bit more serious, and it's a great blend. It's a great blend of players.
Yeah, no, and all mate, continue. I can't endorse anything else from what you said about the players sticking around. I mean, it's been an hour and a half. We've had security dragging them off the field to say, "Come on, Monty wants to do his wrap up. We're going to turn the lights off. You guys have got to go." And they're like, yeah, one more photo. They just won't leave they won't let anyone down. And that's just, as you said, mate, that's culture with a capital C. It's just, it's fantastic to watch. Fantastic.
And you've got players there like Danny Vukovic, who's 38 years old. He's at the end of his career. He could very easily be, at the end of his tether with all that stuff, but they just genuinely love it. So I'm sure there's been times when Vuka's just wanted to get off and get in the shower, but he's one of the guys that stays out there the longest. And anyone who wants a photo or signature, they get it. So, and when your captain leads the way like that, it just filters through the rest of the team.
No, 100%, mate. I wanted to quickly touch on the Women's World Cup kicking off not too far away. We've got our W League side hitting their straps too. How's that all starting to shape up?
It's a work in progress.
Yep.
It's a new side of the business for us.
Yeah.
We're very, very happy with the head coach that we've got on board in Emily Husband. So, that was our priority, and she's busy talking to players and signing players and putting her squad together. It's been a little bit slow, mate, at this stage in sponsorships coming in for the women's game. So, I hope that some people start, everybody wanted the women's team on the coast. So people need to stand up and put some sponsorship money behind the girls as well, because they deserve it. So a bit of work for us to do there, mate, but it's Sean's project. He's worked on it for a long, long time, I think 6-7 years.
Yep.
And he'll be himself, along with Emily, will be at front and center of making sure that comes together and that we're competitive.
Yeah.
With the Women's World Cup, mate, it's just exciting. It's exciting to have both the England and German teams on the coast. I think it's going to be a great boost for women's football on the coast. The timing of bringing our A-League women's team in is beautiful.
Yep.
Should run off the back of that, and we intend on interacting with both those teams, actually on and off the park. They are using some of our junior teams for games against warm-up games, so that's going to be a good opportunity for some of our younger players as well. So
absolutely, mate. No, looking forward to it, and as you said, having teams base themselves here speaks volumes for the setup that we have here on the Central Coast as well, which is fantastic, mate. Final question we had, we mentioned before, 20,000 at the ground against Adelaide in the semi-final. We're now about to kick into membership drive to kick off next season. What do you say to those people that were there? They're not current members. We want them on board. What are we saying to those guys right now?
We need everybody on the coast to get behind the Mariners. It's while we're very, very secure on the field in the way we're performing, there's still a lot of work to do off the field, mate. And financially this year, it's cost me a little bit more money than I expected it to. And I don't have, I'm not a billionaire, mate. We need people to get behind the club and support it. Both anyone who can come on board as a sponsor. We've got packages for all levels, from $1,000 up to the big numbers that companies like Mate put in and DMC and all those types of level of sponsorship. But more than anything, mate, we need everybody who whether you want to come and be a season ticket holder or not, we need you to become a member of the Mariners. And that's what we really need to do, mate, is eventually we need 20,000 people who are members of the Mariners, and that will go a long way towards securing our financial stability for the club. Get on the websites and become a member, and even if can't make every game, at least that's giving us some support. So and style of football that we're playing is amazing. It's attacking. It's exciting to watch, and I think everybody that came to the any of the games in those last 6-8 weeks went away knowing that it was bloody good entertainment for the money that you're paying. So get on there, get a membership, come to as many games as you can, and support the boys. That's all I could say to people.
100%, mate, 100%. And as someone who's been there from year one, I can tell you will more than value your money because your memories will be absolutely priceless. As in weekends like last weekend, which don't come around often enough, but when they do, we celebrate them big time. So
I'll tell you something interesting, Marty. I went and watched the Brumbies last Saturday night.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it was their semi-final. They were playing the Hurricanes.
Right.
I haven't been to a Brumbies game for 20 years. And last time I went to a Brumbies game, there was when George Gregan was going around.
Wow.
So that's how long ago it was. And
Back
there would
in
have
the day,
been 20+ thousand people there.
Yeah.
It was interesting going to watch a Super 15s, which is the premier competition in the Southern Hemisphere, a semi-final, and there was only about 8,000 people at the ground. And I just, football is really making inroads in Australia, and we need to capitalise on that and continue to grow the game. And that means we need to continue to perform the way we did, and just continue to build on what happened towards the back end of this year. But it was an interesting thing, mate. I won't be going back to a Brumbies game in a hurry, mate. Although they did win, and
well, they did, yeah.
And it was a decent performance. To be fair, it was a good performance. Rugby union's just not my cup of tea, unfortunately.
Well, it's a bit chilly down that way too, isn't it?
It was bloody cold, mate. Cold. Yeah. So.
Yeah, well, it does get a bit chilly off the behind the palm trees every now and then, mate. But it's definitely not the same. So
not the same as down here, mate. I can tell you. Had a few whiskeys to warm me up. I can tell you.
Well deserved too, mate. Well deserved, mate. Richard Peel, I really appreciate you giving us some of your time tonight, mate, to have a bit of a chat. Thank you for everything that you've been doing, and thank you in advance for everything that you'll do. Here's to a successful pre-season and seasons ahead for the Mariners again, and long may it continue, hey?
Thanks, mate, and love what you do. So, much appreciated everything you do for the club and getting the name out there. So, let's go. Let's win Asia. Let's win the league.
Absolutely. We'll see you over there.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks, man. And welcome back to the Marty Mariner Show, our end of season special. And well, one of the boys who is out there doing his thing in the yellow and blue shirts of the mighty Central Coast Mariners, holding the middle of the park, wouldn't let nothing through. Max Ballard, how are you doing, man?
Yeah, really good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, mate. And it's been a week or so, but it must still feel like it's the same day, right? It just all blends in together.
It's been crazy to receive what we did with the fans at the stadium, and even when we walked into the beery with our medals and having people clapping us in there, and throughout the whole Central Coast, it's been amazing. It's been a joy to see everyone so happy on the coast, and the boys are all pumped and super stoked too.
That's awesome. And mate, long mate continue until Monty said it's pre-season trainer time. I'm sure he'll get that cranking as well. Mate, just a question I ask all the boys straight up. Were you always going to be a professional footballer?
I always wanted to. Yep. That was the goal for like 5 years old. Well, like whenever I touched the ball, I loved it. And I guess I really took it seriously when I got about 15, 16. I had a pretty deep chat with my dad and said, this is what I want to do. And so, all right, if you want to do it, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, and I'll help you get there. And he's helped me throughout the way. My mum's helped me enormously too. And we've had there's some bumps on the road, but we got there in the end, I guess.
Absolutely. And I guess one thing that last week was definitely one of those highlights that every player wants to get on the journey as well. And mate, playing in the midfield, is that something that you've always done, playing in that kind of six role?
Yeah, for sure. When I was young, I used to love running up and down the field, helping scoring and then stopping the goals going in. I guess it was probably later on, probably like 15 or similar, 15, 16-year-old, where you start to realize you either kind of have to be more of an attacking player or more of a defensive one. But like being in the middle of the park was always right for me. I used to love communicating and I was a bit of a natural leader. So being in the middle of the park helps to talk to everyone on the field. So it's just a role I kind of got into it and loved it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because one of the things, I mean, I've watched that Keep Up episode of the grand final probably, I don't know, God knows how many times, probably too many, but there's never can be too many, right? But one thing that got me, because I've seen you week in, week out, you do the talking, but pre-game, I mean, there was Jason Cummings saying his thing, and it was Max Ballard who's doing the talking too. Was that something that you're normally into, or is that just getting the nerves out as well, or maybe a bit of both?
Yeah. It's a bit of both for me, to be honest. Like whenever I feel I get more comfortable when I talk to the boys and lead them around the park, and it just helps me settle down myself too, and keeps me focused on the game. But yeah, it's been happening since I was young, even in the youth team, and then stepping up into the A League. Of course, when you're a young player, when you first step up, it's hard to get your voice through and all that. But the group of boys we have this year, I felt so comfortable doing it, and they've listened so well, and it's been really enjoyable to do that process.
No, absolutely. And speaking of that group of boys, I mean, it's well talked about, the academy and the boys that have come through, and obviously with Monty as well. And we'll talk about Monty in a sec, but just that group of lads. I mean, it must have been just that extra buzz coming into this last month or 6 weeks, knowing that you've been through so much with these guys, so many training sessions and commitment and all this, to actually be there, to look at each other and go, do you remember when we were at Plume Park not that long ago and it was freezing? Look at us now. Was there a reality hit there for you guys over the last 6 weeks too?
100% exactly right. There was actually a moment in the grand final where me and Dan Hall, we were on the pitch, looking at the pitch, and we were looking at each other, and we're like, I guess it's just another grand final. We have to go get it done then, right? It's one of these ones. But no, it's been amazing to be able to do the MPL grand final with so many of the boys that have now done the A-League grand final with. It's amazing, and it's a credit to the work that Monty and Serge have put in early with the youth team, and now giving us our opportunity. And the boys have been taking them, and it's been a real pleasure for all of us, and to all look at each other at the end of the night and see that we've got that medal around our neck, and it's an amazing feeling.
It's just crazy, as I said, to the sheer number that have come through there. And I mean, you touched on Monty and Serge, and I know, getting to talk to Monty pre-grand final was he was the most relaxed I'd ever spoken to him. He was just so cool and calm, and just everyone talks a lot about Monty and the young players and what he can do. Being one of those younger fellas yourself who's been there with him through the journey that you've had, what is it about Monty that is it? What is it that gets the best out of you?
He's a straight shooter. If you're good with him, if you're loyal to him, if you don't cheat, you don't do anything that you wouldn't supposed to be doing, and if you're honest with him, I think that's the most one, the key one. Sorry, being honest. He's super honest with his players. He'll have a chat to you, let you know when he doesn't think you're doing too good, and when you're doing things real good, he'll make sure that you're still grounded and level-headed, so that you keep performing week in, week out, because he just wants the best for his players. And being a young player and being inspired by the fact that he's been in the Premier League himself and played at that top level, and he knows what it's about. And even more so for me, I guess, being a six, and him being a six himself. So I can't put into words how great he is as a coach, and as a human being too. He's an amazing person.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically a good segue to my next question, because obviously you guys played in very similar roles, especially going from PL and up into the A-League. Did he pull you aside and say, okay, you need to be here or work on this, keep it up? Was there a separate little chat that he sort of had to the side?
It's a continuous process, to be honest. We have chats regularly, even probably two weeks out, or maybe a week out before one of the Adelaide games. He pulled me aside and he's like, all right, we're going to work on crossing the ball, just me and you after training. So after the session, he would take me away, and we'd get Miguel, the goalkeeper coach, to play me a ball, and then find Monty on the diag. And then even of the week of the grand final, he was telling me I have to work on my shooting a bit on the edge of the box. So same thing. He's been amazing. It's a continuous process, and I think that's why I learned so much from him. And I really appreciate the time he takes out for his players to get them to keep improving. And we regularly do videos, just so with the team, of course, and then also individually to analyze what we've done well in the game, and where he expects us to be in certain positions, in certain times of the game and scenarios. And it's amazing to be part of with a coach that's so fond of helping the young players learn.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I remember chatting to you at Plume Park, the fan day the week before, and you were just doing about 20, 30 crosses there too. And even Monty came over and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Mate, I'm doing my crosses." Like, I think that was just awesome to see. But even on that day, I mean, we talked about Monty being calm and even chatting to you just on the fence. You just, you know, we just had so much confidence going into that grand final, but it wasn't cocky. It wasn't kind of, it was done, but there was a relaxed kind of feel amongst all the boys, wasn't there? Going into that week, it was, well, we can do this.
Yeah, he brings that reassurance in the squad, and even Vuka himself, the captain, who's been in many grand finals himself. So to be honest, it was almost a good thing that we have such a young squad, because we're almost fearless in a way. Whereas maybe even Vuka was saying it to us, he was a bit nervous for the grand final himself. So you could tell with the penalties, when he's not even looking at the penalties, you know he's nervous. But it's been great, and we just had that confidence. And when everyone all year has been saying we're the underdogs, and against a big city team like they are, fair play to them, came first in the league. But we knew on the night that we had the capabilities to get a result, and to get such a result that 6-1 is so impressive, and to be able to do it with so many Mariners fans coming down, it was amazing to have such a big crowd there. It almost felt like a home game for us. Honestly, it was amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, we'll touch a bit on the grand final, but I just want to touch just back on those 3 Adelaide games before that one, because we had the last round where, to me, and I've said it before, that first half of that game against Adelaide, the first time we played them, I thought that's some of the best football I've seen the Mariners play for probably 5-6 years. Like, we really just clicked and put it together. And then we just did the job in the semi-finals. We just never looked like losing it. That last semi-final, 20,000 at Gosford, I mean, and I've said before, brought a tear to this old man's eye. Go back to how many years ago it was all the thing to happen like that. Even for you guys, that must have been a point where you've gone, that momentum and that, it was just building, right? That you were never going to lose that last game.
No, for sure. And what's it called? We had gone on such a roll in the last 5 games of the season. I think we had won all 5, and then heading into the finals, we were looking at each other on the bus, heading onto the bus, and we're like, we are creating something special here. We're looking almost unstoppable. The boys are playing one touch up top, playing bing bang, we're playing great football. They're finding each other in the box. The movement's amazing. I think it was just clicking perfectly. And the only shame to that is if we could have done it a bit earlier, who knows, we might have even had the Premier's play too. So that's a goal for next season.
Absolutely.
And but it was amazing, and it felt so right to be part of it, and to know where your boys are, and you got that support with them. And and when I was in the youth team watching them come into the games, not so many fans, and where we were a tough period. And then to be able to go out on that last home game, it was amazing to see 20,000 plus fans there. Absolutely. And the atmosphere was crazy when the go in, Marco's goal, and everyone's jumping, and it was crazy. It was brilliant. That was amazing.
And I mean, even after that game, I think it was probably half an hour, 45 minutes after it. I mean, I caught up with you, still wandering around the outside. It was almost like what just happened. And I mean, we were talking uni at that stage. I was going to ask you, was it economics and commerce, the double degree that you did during the year? I mean, I did social work 1 degree during a year, and that was bad enough. How can you do both that and play football at that much? That's a big effort, man.
Yeah. To be fair, it was a big effort for the 4 years that I did it. You do a lot of sacrifices especially when you're living with a bunch of boys and they're on their PlayStations having a good time, or going out, like not going clubby, but going out to the beach or something like that. And you're like, sorry guys, I can't go. I've got a uni tutorial in 30 minutes. I've got to stay. And you make your sacrifices, and it's never easy, but once you get it done and you get the rewards for it, you're super pumped. And I had a great support network around me. My parents were always supportive of my uni and my education, and the boys I was living with also understood that I had to do it. And when I had my exams and things like that, they would always be very quiet and very respectful. So it's good to have a good group of people around you that help you with that. But it's not easy, and it's done at the same time. So I can now properly focus on my football. But I'm actually doing my coaching license next week. So Yeah, so we're back onto the studying a little bit, but it's a different form, a bit more football, you think. So yeah.
Welcome to the coaching club, mate. I look forward to seeing those grey hairs pop out real soon. And I was going to say too, does it? Yeah, it'll happen, man. Trust me. And I was going to say now too, do you sit down with Sean and when you're talking future contracts and he's talking the dollars and all this, do you come out with mate, I've got the economics and the commerce, we can make this work. You got the advantage, right?
I'll soon be making the deals for all the boys. I'll be telling, look, boys, the budget here, nah.
Commission.
Yeah, yeah, a little commission. Don't worry about it. I've got chief financial officer, and then plays 6 on the weekends.
you'll be all over it. So yeah, so I mean, let's talk about. I mean, obviously, grand final. Just one thing first, because I know obviously through the A-League, the keep up, the app, the cameras, they're in your face a fair bit. They're in the sheds. They're in everything that you're doing. Does that take a bit of getting used to? Is it kind of like, what are you doing out here? This is kind of our area.
The first time, yeah. But to be fair, once you have Jace, who had his all access, and Graham that have their all access in the things, then you start getting used to it slowly, and then you even start taking the piss a little bit with the boys and like start playing jokes on the cameras and things like that, just to wind people up. And to be fair, that keep up one where Jason and I are talking on the field, I didn't even notice the camera. That's like you kind of blank out. Even during halftime, you don't see it. It does end up being pretty good, but yeah, I don't mind the cameras. I know I've got a job to do, and yeah, the cameras don't bother me too much. I leave the camera time for the boys that enjoy it more.
Get all those pretty boys like Harry Steele, right? We'll just pass it on to you. Yeah, exactly. And just one thing too, and I noticed it. They showed it in the Adelaide game, but the getting together when Monty talks, you guys are just all together. And you can look in the faces of every single person in that. There's not a word said. Everyone is just so hinged on every single thing that Monty says. You can sense it before he says anything, right?
Yeah, for sure. He's a great speaker, motivational speaker as well before games. And the thing I love also the most is when we're in that huddle all together. Occasionally on the away trips, we might not have the Doc King that we normally have at our home games, but we still invite that doctor to put it arm in arms with us, and he's there. He's a Mariners staff for that day, and he's one of us, and he gets that circle too. So it's what bonds us together even more, and it's a family we have. Whoever puts on that jersey, we're there for each other, and he's a great speaker, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know family's big for Monty. I know it's big for the coast and the community itself, and even post game. I mean, going out and saying g'day to a few of the families while we're waiting for you guys to hurry up and come and have a beer with us after the game. But but there was just so much. Even the same talk amongst all the families of the support, but just how proud everyone was. And it's not like they just got invited to this last thing. They've been a part of this whole journey, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And when we're walking around the field, and we enjoy walking around the field and seeing the support that we have, and we want to give back to the supporters too for coming out to see us, because without them it wouldn't be as special, not a chance at all. And we really appreciate all the support they give us, and giving them a signature, making their night is very easy for us, and it puts a smile on my face. I'll do that ever till I leave this club, and hopefully not. But it's amazing. So I really enjoy it.
No, it's absolutely, man. And as I said, for someone who I tend to stick around for a little bit afterwards, you're definitely one of the last ones to leave the field, that's for sure. And mate, and as I said, I know you sort of sign, take a photo, sort of move on, but to see those kids' faces, they go, I got Max's signature, and I mean that was probably you back in the day too. So you
exactly.
Absolutely understand it, right?
Exactly right. I was a kid and seeing the professionals there, you're like, wow. And of course, you ask for the signatures, and you're buzzing. You're showing your mates at school, and you're showing your friends, your family, and it's very special. And I totally understand it, and I'm so happy that I can have such an effect on these supporters as well. It's an amazing feel.
No, absolutely, you do, mate. You're you're very much becoming one of the big fan favourites at the club. I can assure you of that. Did it take a little bit of time though at the start, because obviously going from being the other side of the fence, going up to the Nick Mergers and whoever, and can you sign this? But you're there going along. They say, can you sign? And you're like, oh yeah, okay. Did you work on the signature? Did it take a little bit of work for you?
Oh, for sure. The signature has changed from the first season. I've realized that writing my full name is probably not the best way to go about it, because it starts taking a while, to be fair. And then when you've got some people that are pretty anxious to get going. Oh, sorry. Are we still good? Yeah, there we go. When you're signing and when you're writing your full name, especially if you're writing Maximilian, so that it's gone down from Maximilian to Max, and then we've shrunk it. We found a good medium, and no, it's taken some time. And even, to be fair, my first ever signature that I got signed and photo taken, I ended up following that kid on Instagram, and I remember we still have regular chats together. His name's awesome. Paddy, and I that was one of my moments for me, going, wow, I am a professional football player, and these guys do adore what I do, and that was a special moment for me. So I follow him to this day, and we still have chats at the stadium. He's still there, still asking for my signature as well.
Absolutely. Probably got 30,000 of them, but he'll keep on asking. That's fantastic, man.
Exactly, no, man. It's an amazing feeling. It's so good.
Absolutely. So it's a grand final day. Walking out, I don't know about you. You probably did. You feel the atmosphere before you see it. The crowd were just unbelievable. Yellow Army going off the standing section, but just around the sides of the ground too. The noise. That stadium's fantastic for atmosphere.
Yeah.
It takes a bit to get. Does it take a bit just to get focused? And boys, we've got to play some football here rather than get lost in this whole thing.
To be honest, it started from the warm up. We're out there, and as soon as we run out onto the field, and you hear the roar go up in the stadium, wow! Yeah. I just put my arms to the side, and I just try soak it in as much as I can. These moments are special, and you gotta try to take them in as much as possible. Even in Adelaide, when we were in Adelaide not too long ago, I got caught on camera having a little sing along or something like that. So to one of the songs in front of such a good crowd. So
love it.
No, the grand final was amazing, and then when you're going out and everyone's singing the national anthem on the grand final, oh wow, that was special. And I get tingles right now speaking about it. It is amazing. And then once you're in the game, once you're focused, it goes back to you're zoned in, to be fair, until there's a goal. And when there's a goal, you're the roar again. It's crazy. The adrenaline rush you get is insane, and it's special.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, we got the first one, which was great, and went into the break 2-1. And to be fair, City came out the second half, 10, 15 minutes. They really gave it to us, but we got the third. And then we got the fourth, and then we got the fifth. What was it like? Because you're out there, you're focused. We got a game to play, but the hairs on the neck must have been. We've got this, right? We can't lose it from here.
Honestly, to be fair, when we were 2-1 up at halftime, I was like, it's still dangerous, especially against such a good side.
Absolutely.
But when Faz came on, got the penalties and got us going in 4-1. You're like, okay, wow, this could be it, but let's not get ahead of ourselves either. Especially now that I try to talk to the boys a lot. After those goals, I tell them, calm down, reset. We have to get the ball back. We have to go again, because if you give them a little bit of momentum, they're a very dangerous side. And with so many Socceroos in their squad, you don't want to give them any hope at all. So, and then eventually, I was off for the last 2 goals, I'm pretty sure, and we're sitting there. Stormy's there, and we're with tears in our eyes. We're like, wow, we could actually be champions, and it was an amazing feeling. And then hugging each other after the game, beautiful. It's beautiful.
No, it was brilliant, mate. As I said, there was many a tear shed in the stands. I can assure you for that too. Just one person I want to quickly just chat about, Joshy Nisbet. Now, I think we've got quite a number of underestimated players in our squad, yourself included. But one fella who I still can't believe he's not wearing very much green and gold is Josh Nisbet. Now, you play right next to that guy.
Yeah.
What is it about him? You get the close-up look about what he does. What is it about Josh Nisbet?
He's a special player, and I don't know how quick his feet must move to make up for the little legs, but he does an amazing job. I've never seen someone run around so much like him. Against City, we had a bit of a game plan where he was on Aiden O'Neill. I was more defensively taking care of you. But even when I'd get dragged away to one defender and I'd see him sprint back, cover the other number 10, and I'm there like, wow, this guy is an unbelievable player. He definitely deserves a lot more recognition, and he's a quality player. And he's got a great future because he's only young as well. He's still he's still got many years ahead of him. So I'm just excited to see where he goes. And wow, the partnership we've created together to play against the three-man midfields most weeks, where we're only two in there, is something special. And we bounce ideas off each other on how we should deal with certain situations. And he's just as smart as he's good as a player. So his quality is very, very underrated in my eyes.
Oh, absolutely, man. And I mean, and credit to yourself too, because he wouldn't be able to do what he does unless he had yourself stand next to him. And I mean, Steely comes on and does the job as well. And I think, I mean, and I don't know what you're thinking too, but the last couple of years, our bench hasn't been as strong. We've sort of really, but you look at the players who've been coming, even grand final day, like, Thea Harris coming on, Maresh, Steely, as you mentioned before, Faz coming on, Dan Hall. This is the strength, really. When you look at our squad, that's our strength, right?
For sure. But most teams in the league, you'd say they have a very strong 11, but then they might lack on the bench, and that's why I think, I'm not exactly sure stats-wise, but I feel like we score a lot of late goals as well. And towards the back end of the games, you can see that we're dominating games. And when you have players like Christian, Moresh, who can bring the flair and the attack, it relieves a lot of pressure on the defense, and it helps us going forward. So, there's Steely in midfield ratting around and helping us. It's quality. Of course, Faz had a great game off the bench on the grand final. You could almost give him the man of the match with getting the 2 pens, but full credit to Jace getting his hat trick in such a game, and maybe his final game for the club. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But it's an amazing power that we have, and I think Monty chose his players very well, and he's done great signing the players he has.
No, absolutely, mate. And I think I added up. I think it's about 33 first-team appearances so far for yourself for the Mariners. I don't know if I saw too many goals in there.
That is an issue that I very well be working on. I am very upset with myself that I haven't scored yet, and I believe I have had opportunities to score, which is very frustrating. And the worst bit is the Brisbane one where I counts as a no goal off the header, which was very frustrating. Yeah, but
100%.
It's an aspect of the game that I want to improve for next season, and I feel like that will help me step to another level. And definitely one that I'm looking to improve on.
Absolutely, mate. Well, we always promote responsible gambling here at the MartyMariner Show, but my sports bet account could do with a bit of a top up. So if you could. If I back you a few times, mate, if you could get one away, that would be fantastic. All right, that would be really cool. So, so finally, mate, the grand final, the whistle goes. It sinks in real quick about we're champions. What was your first thought?
First thought was run to the boys, because coming from the bench, you run to the boys, and Nizzy was one. To mine, and then Faz was there, Dan was there, Steely was there, all the boys that you've grown up doing in the youth team with, and it was. I have the photo on my phone. It's an amazing photo. And then of course you celebrate with the boys, and then I tend to try and be as sportsmanlike as I can, and I go and shake Melbourne City's hands because. Of course, it's probably one of their most disappointing results of the season, and but being champions, when you go back to see all the boys hugging, you're in the change room celebrating, banging on the bins, singing.
That was awesome.
Singing the theme song, and it's so special. And to be fair, I don't think it quite like sinks in. We're all there, super happy, and then I can't even put it to words. The grand final, when you hear the final whistle, it's just pure joy that comes out, and then seeing the crowd have such good joy as well, like jumping up and down, screaming, singing the songs, and it's super special. A moment I'll never forget.
Oh, absolutely, man, and long may it continue, and may it not be the only one, so we can move on again till next year, mate.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for your time. I know that you've trekked all the way back from the Gold Coast just to have a chat with us here, mate. So I really, really appreciate that. We'll let you go catch up on some sleep, and we look forward to you. We'll catch up with you in the preseason, and we'll do it all again, hey?
For sure. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No worries, mate. We'll catch you soon. Bye, mate. And welcome back to the MartyMariner Show. This is episode 1 of our end of season specials. We kicked off earlier tonight with speaking to the chairman, Mr. Richard Peel. We had a bit of a chat with Max Ballard, the midfielder enforcer. And now, well, we're putting the decorations on top of the cake with 3 absolutely, well, we'll call them special guests. You can work out the narrative from there. First of all, look, she's become the new craze at Tuggerah as a fortune teller after, well, let's face it, she pretty much predicted the score of the grand final. They're lining up now at Tuggerah at Mariners HQ for them to tell the future. Gabby Bowles, how are you doing, mate?
I'm very well. Very well. Still very tired, but for lots of wonderful reasons.
Absolutely. And we may well cover off on a few of those very, very shortly. This next bloke's no stranger to the MartyMariner Show. He's what Frank Sinatra was to Hollywood when it comes to the Mariners. But lately he's been the boss in the Bruce Springsteen kind. Hey, baby, it's Mick Morley. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm great, mate. It's great to be here. Great to see those lovely people I'm with tonight. And it was sort of been a crazy fortnight, and it was sort of so surreal. I still was pinching myself on Sunday coming home with Joe Perricone going, did that happen? So, mate, it's been fantastic. Been on cloud 9 ever since.
Absolutely. And I'm on that same cloud too with you. Don't worry about that one. And then, now look, this guy is making his MartyMariner Show debut. Look, if there was a bigger smile post-game of the grand final, well, then I'm Brian Kaltak's sprint coach. This guy, I couldn't be happier for him. He's an absolute legend, and he's here to talk about memberships, but also some great memories as well. Dan, the membership man, how are you doing, mate?
Oh, Marty, thanks so much, mate. Gabby, Mick, great to be on with you guys, and thank you very much for inviting me to your show tonight. And mate, I think we're still on that high. We're still not come down yet, and my God, it's just action stations and just rolling into it, mate. So game on.
Absolutely, mate. And well, let's kick off with you, Dan, because for those who've been living under a rock for the last 8-9 years or so that you've been around, where did your love of football start, and how did you end up at the Central Coast?
Well, I was very fortunate. Being a Pommy, it was always in the blood. Dad was a massive Manchester United fan, and I was a bit of a Southampton fan. So there was a lot of clashes in the household. But yeah, joined the bandwagon with Dad, but Southampton at heart. My school teacher was one of the under-16 coaches for Southampton, so that's how I got my passion of football, but just loved sport, and made a career in outdoor education for 17 years, teaching windsurfing and sailing, and that brought me over to this beautiful country. And then 2 years of hard grafting and interning, and eventually got the job at the Mariners, and been nearly 8 years in August, and catching up with everyone else now with Sean and Cameron, and Gabby's there as well. So it's just amazing just to be a part of this legacy at the moment that we're creating. It's just been wonderful, mate.
Absolutely, mate. And it's as I said, I don't use the word lightly, although I do use it a lot, but you're an absolute legend in what you do. Gabby, let's start with you, because we're going to play the excerpt, which I'm going to cut in very, very shortly. You essentially said, and let's not lie about it, you said we're going to win 6-1. Is that pretty much what you said on that last show?
You're giving me way too much credit there. I wouldn't predict the score, and I maintain my position on that. Superstition is strong. But I was confident, and I said they would win convincingly. Did I honestly think 6-1? I don't think anyone could have dreamt of that. but yeah, I just had a lot of confidence that they'd do it convincingly. And so, yeah, last Saturday night was absolutely exceptional. Like Sean said, we all believed, but the result was unbelievable, exceeded expectations.
Absolutely. And well, before we get too much further, we'll just have a quick look at that video clip.
I'm massively superstitious, so I don't like predicting scores. What I will say, I'm confident we're going to do it convincingly. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think we've got their measure because our boys have fun when they're playing. They're not just good, they have fun.
So yeah, as I said, mate, it's essentially, you said 6 months. So let's give you all the credit. It's not like you're going to get it tattooed on your body or anything like that.
Oh,
what a surprise. There we go. How good is that? Wow. There you go. Got to be compulsory for everyone in the office from what I'm hearing. What stage of the night, Gab? I mean, to me, half-time, 2-1, it was still on. We knew City were going to come out all guns blazing that second half. But talking to a few of the boys since then, as that half went on, we just got stronger and stronger, and it was getting to that surreal stage. It was almost like, pinch us, we're dreaming. When was it for you that you went, I actually think we've done this?
yeah, look, at halftime, a lot of people were getting nervous because City had pulled one back. For me, though, I actually felt relieved. I really didn't want to go into the half 2-0. We often talk in football circles about that being a cursed scoreline. We've beaten many a team who have gone in 2-0 up at the break. So I was actually relieved because I knew that 2-1 would set the climate that in the second half, our boys wouldn't drop. They wouldn't take anything for granted. They would remain focused and knew that they had to get another one to get the up on City, and City would come out and fight, but also knew that they were trying to claw themselves back. So I actually felt pretty comfortable at the half. I just felt it was the right climate for us to maximize it. And I think our third goal, I thought, nah, this is on. And look, they just didn't drop, did they? They took every ounce of energy in that stadium and every ounce of belief that Monty's built into them. And, for a lot of them, the years that they spent at the club, and they carried that belief and were just extraordinary. So proud of them.
Oh yeah, it was special. As you said, it was unbelievable. It was just magical. And I mean, someday soon I'll wash my grand final shirt, but I'm not taking off just quite yet. I mean,
when the championship stuff arrives, then you can swap.
It's on order. It's on order, and I know the legends will get it to us as soon as we possibly can. Can't wait for that one too. Don't worry about that. Mick, the first half we just couldn't put a foot wrong. The passes were sticking. The boys just across the park. Someone said to me the other day, who was outstanding for you? I struggle picking one guy out of that first 11 that when we started the game, we just dominated all over the park, didn't we?
Yeah, because you're there live. It's sort of I've got to watch and I've watched it 3 times now. The mini match, and you get a feel for the game more watching the mini match, and you take in what you had live. I look back now and take nothing from Cummings, but you know what? My man of the match was Silvera, mate. He honestly was amazing. Like, some of the stuff he did was world class. And I said in that mini match, he stands out in that game. I mean, that's, I'm with you guys. They're all man of the matches. Shouldn't have a man of the match in that game, but you're going to score 3 goals, you're going to get it. It was a funny sort of feeling, as Gab said. The goal shocked me into, oh no. And I think, as Gabby said, I 100% agree with her. Probably going into that shed with that happening was probably a good thing, which mightn't sound right, but I think it could have been a good thing. Again, watching the All Access thing, which is amazing, watching some of the stuff, you watch that All Access thing, you know why we won. I know why we won, and it says it all.
Yeah, no, it 100% did, and and people talking since then, they just said you could just tell by the looks on the faces and the words that were being said that there was no way was that trophy not coming back to Gosford that night. Dan, I think it was on the Mariners media. There was a video that sort of showed you guys as the players were walking out. You guys were just there. Obviously, you're looking forward to the game. You're pumped. But was there this kind of this 8-9 years that you've just had at the club was sort of culminating in this? Was it kind of this a reward kind of thing? Is that how it felt?
Oh, I don't know about like to be there up in the stands. That was a reward enough. Like the amount of hard work that everyone puts in behind the scenes, like the corporate team making sure the signage is correct and everything. Like every game, going in and saying hello to everyone, us going around from ticketing, making sure there's no problems on the game of getting people in. We didn't have that this one. It was pretty surreal. It was nice to go into the members function, have a beer with the members and enjoy it, and walk to that stadium and then walk in, and then I just got emotionally overwhelmed seeing the crowd, just the yellow and blue. I was an emotional wreck after that first goal. I think that's when the tears started. It was just for that, all the passion, all the hard work, and what we do behind the scenes, it just all reflected that game.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, these boys, they earned every single penny of that day because they just went out there and absolutely demolished them. And like, it was something that we've been wanting all year. And yeah, we had a rocky start to the season. Everyone's trying to get rid of Danny at the very beginning. Like, look at this now. Like, it was just a fairy tale, mate. And what we've been preached all the way along with won't back down and believe, it was just so good taglines to have and be on this campaign with. And those boys went out there and believed, and we did it and we got it done, and it was fantastic. But just to be surrounded by the whole crew, like Sean was behind me, Gab was behind me, Chris was there, Cameron walked down the stairs, like Bell and Nissa were on either side, Mick Morley then pushed me over and bagged a seat next to me. It was the original crew, and like, just all of us just knew what it meant to each other, and we could read each other's faces. It was just priceless. It was unbelievable emotion, and it's still riding now. I still cry every time I watch the Mariners mini match.
Me too.
You and me both, my friend. You and me both. It's just
but as Mick said, like not one of them stood alone. They all played as a team. They all backed each other up. They had each other. Like Storm Rue was absolutely fantastic, I thought, as well, and Nicololo. But I can't give it to one person. Like, it's everyone played their part. It was just unreal. I'll start naming them all.
Get the team sheet out. We'll go from 1 to 17. Gabs, the pre-season.
No, I definitely won't read the names.
No, we'll leave that to Pete Pryor. That's his role up there. The pre-game function that we had, the atmosphere in that place. I mean, I got emotional being there. I mean, I'm a sook, everyone knows it, but I had tears, like just seeing people I'd seen for 18 years ago at the first games, people I'd never met before. There was just this real mix of families, and there was just this mood. And I remember coming over saying good day to you and the fam, and all that was great. But you could just feel that atmosphere. Something was building even there, right?
Yeah, look, I think when you've been through the highs and lows as a Mariners fan, whether you're a staff member or you sit in the stands or a volunteer or a sponsor, the people that buy into it emotionally, feeling pride. That was a room full of pride, and that was before they even kicked off on the day. There was pride. There was pride behind the badge. There was pride for your community. There was pride for everyone who'd stuck it out, and some of them that may have drifted away were welcomed with open arms because, people could be forgiven for not having been able to carry on the journey of the last few years. But in that moment, we rallied. We rallied as supporters. We knew the boys needed us. And so I think for me, what that pre-match function felt like was it was pride, and it was our pack was back together. Our community was galvanized, and that's a very electric thing.
Absolutely. It was a very, very, very powerful thing, and long may it continue as well. Mick, I just had the feeling when I got to the ground, I mean, it's a great stadium to watch football. There's no doubt about it. It's got no palm trees and sauce bottles, but as a football ground, it's not too bad. But you felt it when you were in there too. It had that atmosphere, didn't it?
Look, I felt it before then, mate. We went down with Joe and we stayed in the unit. I think it was about a 20-minute walk with the pub, and we started walking the street to Parramatta. I don't know where we were. Yeah. We ended up turning to Church Street there, and we saw the pub where the City fans were, and walked past that, and then we just turned the corner and we came into Church Street, and it was unbelievable. I just thought it was just a sea of of yellow basically, and just all of a sudden you're just walking in and bumping into. Like I walked it. I only got 4 meters towards the pub. I think I said hello to 20 people, you know, and not just hello, hugs and kisses and, you know, high fives. And it was, you know, I felt like we'd won it then, you know, and maybe that spilled out onto the field. I remember hearing Camo say, you know, he said to the boys, have a look at this crowd, do it for them. And it was a buzz. It was something that I actually honestly hadn't really experienced before at that level. For me, and yeah, I think it was. I didn't even care if I didn't get a beer because there were so many big lineups. I just enjoyed the buzz of just being there, you know. And then as Dan said, I was so lucky, you know. I got to sit down there with Dan and the inner sanctum, so to speak, and they don't think themselves as that, but you know those people, and it was so good to share that emotion with them. I'm so happy and privileged to be able to do that.
No, absolutely, mate. And Dan, I mean, you know, post game, you know, the one thing I love, well, one of the many things I love about this club is the family, and to see the boys that, and they've done it all season. To their credit, they'll go around and their kids are out there with them, and even when we have the fan days where we go on the field, their kids are out there. But to see all of those families just walking around, the hugs, the kisses, the commitment, obviously the boys have put in all year, but it was the families just coming together with the Mariners family itself. I mean, I was tearing up just looking at that. And then I see guys like you running on the field. That must have been so emotional out on that field.
Oh, mate, absolutely. Like, as soon as the whistle went, I just hugged everyone in a little area. Then I just ran straight to the left, down. I was lost in the tunnel. Which way to go? Where's the field? That way. Okay. Sprint out. And then it was just aura, seeing the boys and seeing the families, seeing Josie Montgomery just in tears, and with Nick. And, like, it meant so much as well. Like, and credit as well. Like, it was an absolute honor just to go around and walk around that field and just thank the fans as well. Like, being the membership manager at the time, I know Ian's done a fantastic job, and I've kicked off where he's left. But it was just such an honor to go around and wave to people, see people grabbing me, hugging and kissing like I hadn't seen for ages. But it's all the diehards, the true blue and yellow were there, and it was such an honor to be. But the one thing that really sunk home, and it was when Danny didn't lift the trophy when he got it. He took it straight over, held it down, just walked straight over to all of us and the players and all the staff, and we just lifted that trophy. That meant so much more as a family because we are so tight-knit, that community focus, but just how we all worked for that whole trophy, all of us together, that was more meaningful than anything. So, and then also us admin team got a sneaky little photo too, so that was perfect too. So it was awesome to see some people that had been at this club, like Cheyenne Pay was there, Dave Jordan, Tim Costello. I took his role when I started 8 years ago. Like, it was just amazing. And Jesse Canning, I know Sharon Baxter was overseas, but she would have been there in a heartbeat too. But it was just amazing to see all those people. Carly Carmichael, like the list goes
Lauren
on.
DeNicolo.
Yeah, Lauren DeNicolo. Like, if I don't say anyone's name, I'm going to get insulted. So
Yeah, mate, yeah.
like everyone was there. It was just fantastic, and all these people have been a part of this journey since we won the last one, and they've met the fans, they've been a part of this role. So yeah, it was just magical, mate. But the one thing I just loved, it was just that whole aura of seeing everyone so freaking happy after all those times and heartaches, and me, no worries, it'll be fine next year. Come on, let's go. All right. It was just a relief. All I've got to worry about is winning the league next year, not the grand final. So it's great. So it's good.
I can't wait for marketing to get onto those Dan said I told you so kind of t-shirts, mate. They'll sell like hotcakes. Don't worry about that.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And yeah, that's what we're excited about now. It's a new journey. The season's over, and now it's reset and push that button. And we've got 6 trophies to win this year now. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, watch out, Asia. Gabs, and I think Dan just touched on it too. And it's times like these two that you not because you forget them, but the amount of people who've taken this journey with the club who aren't in the staff office now, who've played their part through tougher times, got us through it. it's a celebration for them as well. And to see them there on the night is just as gratifying, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Like Dan said, they're family.
Yeah.
You know, there's very few people who come in and spend time at the club. Sort of once you sort of tick over that 12 months, you're well and truly entrenched in it, and you leave something behind. Every single one of them's contributed blood, sweat, and tears. And I don't say that jokingly, like literally, they put blood, sweat, and tears into it. I think Sean's post-match interview really sums up some of the challenges that we've been through as a club, and that he's been through. And I've said it to a few guys before, you know, I don't think he gets enough credit. Sean is our Monty. You know, football clubs are unique things. You know, you'll often get the debate that, you know, there's no one without football. Well, there's also no one without the fans, and there's no one without the business running to then support that. It really does all flow into each other. And, you know, that's what our logo represents is we've seen diagrams before where it's, you know, the business flowing into the football, flowing into the community. You know, just to see Sean's emotion and what him and his family have personally sacrificed. A real highlight for me on the night was we were running around trying to make sure we could get his wife Leslie down onto the pitch at the end so that they could enjoy that moment together, because, you know, them and their boys have sacrificed so much family time to make sure that this club keeps ticking over, and that's not taken for granted. Every single one of us that you know have been blessed to work at this club, you know, have Sean to thank for getting us through some incredibly challenging times, but also Leslie and the boys, thank them for their support. So I've got a couple of nice photos that I shared with them of Leslie and Sean celebrating with that trophy, and you know, it, you know, as much to what they have contributed to off the park as what Monty's helped create on the park. Yeah, just so special.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you know, even personally, like, fortunate to be in the place afterwards, you know, sharing a beer with everyone, and Sean's like, "Here, have the trophy, get a photo with it." I mean, that is just, if I wasn't blown away that night already, to stand there 2 hours after the end of the game with the trophy, like, it was absolutely surreal. Mick, we mentioned family before for the as in the Mariners family, but the family of these boys after the game, that they were just as emotional. Like, it was just such a, the group, they were talking to it. Obviously, they must know each other really, really well, but you see it probably week in, week out with the families as well. There's just such a tight-knit group off the field as well.
Yeah, it's you know, I didn't go to train or down the last week leading into it, but the games before Adelaide and the other game before City, only because we're doing a little bit of work to help a bit of work down there. And you know what, the atmosphere and down there it was so casual, so to speak, and so happy, and so it was like it felt good, and like, you know, even Monty, you know, like, you know, he'd come off train, he'd jump on the exercise bike and have a chat, and just go around. All the boys are just having a chat, and it was like really chilled out sort of stuff. And I think it led all the way through, and they just all seem to get on so well as brothers. And
yeah.
You know, it's you know, it's at the highest level that we have in Australia, but it's what we've probably experienced playing over 35s or over 45s, or when we did grade. You know, it's a group of blokes that are going out and having a game of football. Yeah. They seem to carry that sort of mentality into a professional game, and I think that goes a long way to Monty's genre, so to speak, and how it goes. And you know what? It's successful.
Absolutely. So let's talking numbers. We had 20,059 at that last semi-final on the coast. We had thousands that came down to Parramatta Stadium. I'll still call it Parramatta Stadium, Combank, whatever. Yeah. Dan, the members, the membership drive, the getting going again for the next season already. There's no sleep for the wicked. Mate, a couple of changes, additions. Do you want to fill us in and tell us what's going to be happening next season?
Yeah, no, thanks very much, Marty. So, we're about to launch a brand new campaign on Monday. Everyone's worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Every single department's literally helped me out the last week or two, just getting everything completely done. And I'm so grateful for the team behind me, because we're just down a couple of people, and we're just trying to fill those spots now ready for next season. But memberships start on Monday, so I'm so excited. We've got new targets to reach, and I want to smash them all. I want more members, and we can fill the pockets. Really, that's more seats at the stadium. That's what I want to achieve, and new tier structure and everything. But let's just work with what we got at the moment. But at the moment, our memberships for next season is we're introducing a club membership called Our Mate. And then also divide it into season tickets. So you'll become a club member, and then you'll be able to purchase your season tickets. So all the renewing members, which will take in place on Monday, anyone hasn't out of the auto renewal will roll over on Monday. What that means is they get their club membership for free. And then they'll have their season ticket purchase. So if you're a gold member, for example, you'll get a club membership and then your season ticket as well. So your season ticket will include the women's as well as the men's as well. So I'm really excited. So a lot of different tiers, obviously platinum, gold, navy, yellow army. Then obviously we're introducing women's only ticket as well. So if people only want to just go to the women's matches, they're more than welcome to. But if you purchase the A-League, you get both. So you're actually getting to 24 games for part of your membership this year. So that's absolutely incredible to start with. Yeah. With the club membership as well, you'll also get included the MPL games now for the rest of the season and for next season as well. That's obviously due to results. Yeah. But at the moment, they're looking great to continue in that MPL. And the only other exciting little bit is the add-on, the AFC Cup, which is a tournament pass. So there'll be 3 home games played at Industry Group Stadium. So we'll be able to have the 3 games there. So there's plenty of options for everybody, and memberships starting from 160 in the yellow tier, going all the way up to 450 in the platinum tier. And yet again, we're the cheapest membership in the A-League across all categories and most affordable on the coast. And we want to make sure everyone gets a part of it, and let's fill that stadium 10 to 15,000 every game, because I'll tell you what, if we have all those members in there and all the fans, I'll tell you, we'll win the whole league again next year 2 times over. So let's do it.
No, absolutely, mate. That absolutely sounds fantastic. And Gabby, apart from watching Mick Morley and Dancing with the Stars, this is the best entertainment you can pay money for, right? Best value ever.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm always pretty penny conscious because I've got 500,000 kids. But when you consider that, your club membership. So what Dan's just described that they're introducing is people can buy a club membership, for as little as $3 a month, which makes you a member of the club. So it doesn't actually matter where you live. It doesn't matter if you're interstate. It doesn't matter. Anyone who has family overseas, get on them, because we want them to pick up these $3 memberships. It all helps contribute to the club and helps the club grow. And then once you've got that membership, you can actually unlock season tickets. And with the season tickets, on average, you're sort of looking at around the 3 hours of entertainment per game, 24 games, A-League men's, A-League women's, for the prices that Dan's talking about, it is so cheap. It's crazy, and we need people to get behind us. I've been badgering my brother, who was a long-term fan for many years. He was one of the ones who dropped off, during the difficult years. Yep. Comes to the grand final. I did not stop at him all night. So, mate, you're going to be a member next year? You're going to be a member next year? You got to be a member. I said, if you're not ready to buy your season ticket, that's fine, but get on board to be a member. You spend more than that on coffee every week, and he works in the coffee industry. Everyone's got to rally. Everyone's got to talk to their network and just get on board that $3 a month membership when you're ready to get your season tickets, but buy into this, and be part of something special. And, we can keep kicking on the way we have this season and get behind our women. Yeah. Emily Husband, our A-League women's head coach, is just absolutely brilliant. She sat next to her, and I were sitting next to each other for the whole second half. Nice. Both equally covered in as much of other people's beer and Dan's tears. But
He's not. No, he's not.
It wasn't my beer, it was Dan's beer. I didn't think I could run that easy.
it was everyone's bit. To be fair, I reckon Stadge probably hurled one at us. He was up behind us, but
That was great.
yeah, it's just exciting that, we're going to be able to back our boys into a very busy season for them. They'll have, the Asia Cup. They're going to have the Australia Cup. They're going to have A-League kicking off. Our women are going to get stuck in. It's going to be huge. So get involved.
Absolutely.
And honestly, Marty, for like, if you pay the platinum price of $4.50, you roughly split that between 24 games. It's roughly nearly $19 a game you're going to in platinum seating. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, the bottom tier is like $6 a game. So for 3 hours of entertainment, exactly like Gabby said, it's daylight robbery that we're charging. But I'll tell you what, like, the entertainment you're going to get out of it is going to be worth it, because when we got double headers on, that's going to be even better. 6 hours of entertainment. All right, game on. Let's enjoy it. Let's fill this coast.
Absolutely. And don't forget, you all get a free subscription to the Marty Mariner Show too, just to add some cream on top of the cake, ladies and gentlemen, as well. Mick, to be a member of this club, I mean, Dan and Gabby, legendary in the work that they've done, but can you tell the people that to be a member, to be a part of this club, it's a special thing, right? You don't know until you're actually doing it.
Well, yeah, for sure. And like you said, I think Gabby, hit the nail on the head. I think there was a saying that the axles on the bandwagon for the Central Coast were really large the last few weeks. You know what? Let's carry that axle and that bandwagon. We don't care, do we, Dan and Gab? We don't care if they're a bandwagon. Get on the bandwagon now.
Get on it.
Get on it. No, we don't care if you've gone away and come back. That's fantastic. That's even probably better still. And yeah, just get part of it, because I think, you can see from on Saturday down there, like, it's when we played Adelaide at home, I sort of was a bit bittersweet, because, we have 20,000 there, 20,000. Nearly all of them walked around had some sort of Mariners paraphernalia. It might have been some Hummel stuff from 12 years ago. But honestly, they had it, And I'm thinking, where have you people been? I understand this a little bit, but last year we were competitive. All we want is half of you people to turn up next year, and it'll make a hell of a difference, So, I think, honestly, you've probably got the easiest job in the world next year.
Thanks.
Wow, no pressure. Well, there we go. And yeah, Richard Peel just
won't be like
and says hi.
Yeah. Tell a nice to Eskimos. It won't be like that, mate. You'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And Gab, you just quickly touched on it too, the women's side. I mean, that to me is, I can't wait for the season to start already, but to have our women's side back on the park and to get behind them as well. Again, it's just one more special thing that the club just keeps taking these steps forward. It's just brilliant, right?
It is. We've been pushing hard for about 5 years. Carly Carmichael did a massive amount of work, for the first couple of years there, pushing to get that license back. Then I came into the space and had to sort of, pick up the task and keep pushing away. Sean's been relentless the whole time about getting it. We've had so many fans and supporters and petitions over the years saying that people want it. I can't overstate how important it is now that those same people get on board and actually back the team. We're very grateful for what Rich has brought to the club as far as resources over the past season. But with another team, comes a requirement for more resources. And the reality is, unless we actually pitch in and back it, we can't expect results like what we experienced this year unless a community actually get behind it. That's what makes it sustainable. That's why if everyone chucks in a couple of dollars a month to, at the very least, become a member, and then those that have the capacity jump on board and get their season tickets, and encourage your mates that are sitting on the fence. Just get your membership. That support flows through to our women's teams. get in the stands and watch them, get loud, be proud, because, you know, all of our A-League boys said, you know, the difference that the fans made, that family made, and hearing them. You know, you see them go to celebrate goals and, you know, running up to the crowd. It's like they need us. They need all of us. So anyone who's sitting on the fence having an opinion about how the club should be run and what should be done and what shouldn't be done, if you haven't chucked your couple of dollars in a month to become a member, go away. Like, honestly, you want to have a say, get involved and back it, you know, because our girls are going to need that just as much. And, you know, we shouldn't take it for granted.
Absolutely. And you might even get your own codes to buy grand final tickets. Just saying, might be an added bonus for you there as well. And we'll be going to be following the women's team very, very closely as they start to build their squad as well. So can't wait to have some chats with those guys too. To you guys, thank you so much on behalf of the fans, the supporters of this club, the work that you do this time of year, off season, on season. There's no such thing. It's just days at work for you guys. Honestly, from those that know and those that should know, we can't thank you guys enough. Oh, look at the surfboard. Fair dinkum.
Hey, how good's that?
For a sec.
How good's that? That's the grand final winning surfboard now. Hey, that is pride and joy.
Oh, geez.
Don't ask him to see the matching budgie smugglers.
No, I was just going to say we can cut and edit real quick.
Sorry, Marty. I'll have to do this without going. All right. You probably don't know, but that lovely lady down the bottom picture down there, she called my dance rank, but she gave me 10. And I don't care because I got a trophy anyway.
Oh, look at this.
Thanks, Gab.
Look at this. Danny,
sorry, mate.
Danny, eat your heart out. Look, you've got the trophies coming out of everywhere.
Sorry for hijacking the show, mate. That be said.
Mate, anytime, mate. Anytime. We can't wait to not invite you back. It'd be brilliant. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time tonight. Really enjoyed it again. Try and enjoy an off season, but memberships kick off next Monday, so Dan's already all over it. No such thing as an off season. No. For the wicked. We'll catch up with you guys again very, very shortly. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, cheers, Marty.
Cheers, legend.
And that brings us to the end of the first of our end of season specials here at the Marty Mariner Show. Massive thank you once again to the Mariners chairman, Richard Peel, also to Maxi Ballard, and also to Gabby, the Psychic Bowls, Mick Morley, and Dan, the membership man. Let's make that fella so busy next Monday. I'm sure he'll love every second of it, but let's get behind the Central Coast, get a membership. You don't even have to be in the country to get a membership now. How good is that? You can become very much a part of this ever-growing, incredible family that is the Central Coast Mariners. As I said at the start of the show, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you do so. Something about algorithms and numbers that helps to spread the word. I don't understand it for YouTube, but they seem to. It's good for us. Click that little button in the corner. The more, the merrier, right? And again, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And it was great to see so many of you there at the pre-game event at the pub before the grand final. It was great to catch up and say good day to you there. I hope to see you all again very, very soon. That is the show for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in right till the very end. The second episode will be with you very, very shortly. It's the Marty Mariner Show.